So you want to get your law firm ranked on the first page of Google. Well, of course you do. That's where people go to look for attorneys. Over 90% of all search traffic starts with a page one Google search result. If you're on page two on Google, you may as well not be on Google at all. I'll show you exactly how to get your website to rank on the first page of Google because I've done it many, many times. I'll show you the 5 things your site needs to do to rank, and then I'm going to give you the secret to getting your site to rank in a large area, not just in one town. So let me show you an example of where I've done this. This is hogansmith.com, a great attorney in Central Florida. His specialty is car accident and total car. He's got other specialties too: tobacco litigation, med mal. But when you say I want to show up first on Google for attorney, you really don't mean attorney, because nobody really searches for attorney. When someone needs an attorney, they're either getting a divorce or they've had an injury or they have a tax problem, and they're going to tell Google what kind of attorney they want. Ranking first for attorney isn't as useful to you as ranking first, in this case, for car accident attorney. So just give an example. This guy in Central Florida and South Florida, he ranks first on Google for car accident attorney in Estero. He ranks first or on the front page in Maitland. He ranks on the front page in Auburndale. He ranks on the front page in Bartow, different cities. And these are cities between 10 and 40,000 population. Car accident attorney Celebration, he's on the first page. Car accident attorney Punta Gorda, same website, city after city. Some of these are 100 miles away from each other. And in all of these areas, he ranks on the first page. Car accident attorney Venice, he is on the first page. I think he's at number 2. So this site ranks on the first page in city after city after city. I think I created a couple hundred landing pages for this guy, and let me show you exactly what it took to get this website to be on the first page on Google in all those different cities. First thing you always want to have when you build a website is you want to have a video. This is the most important factor in getting a site to rank. The video helps people who visit the site to understand what you're about. It makes them more likely to convert, but it's the most important single search criterion for Google. You're 53 times more likely to rank page one on Google if you have a video on your website. As you know, the attorney space is crowded on Google Ads. It's really prohibitively expensive. We're talking about free site traffic. You want to rank on that first page without having to pay Google anything. And to do that, you've got to make sure you've got a video. If you say, well, I don't really want a video, you're going to have a video because you're competing against other guys who do. And without a video, you're dead in the water just because of the competition. Number 2, you got to make sure your site has a lot of content. Websites have Google isn't going to rank a site that has less than about 1,000 words of content. So if you dive into these different landing pages I created, here's the landing page for car accident attorney Estero. It's got over 1,000 words of content, and you don't want to keyword stuff. You don't want to say car injury attorney over and over and over again. You do want to say it though 2% of the time. So if you have 1,000 words of content on a page, you want to repeat the keyword 20 times. If you go to 2,000 words, you can go up to 40 times, but you don't want to repeat it too many times because Google thinks you're tricking the system or trying to trick the system, which you really cannot do. The other piece is when you create site content, it's really important that you use what we call lexicon, like this. He's got words like medical records, investigation, personal injury, economic, emotional. These are sort of jargony terms that will tell Google that this site isn't just an advertisement, but it's sort of like a useful article to people. So the saying in our industry, long is strong. Make sure you have 1,000 words of content. If you want a site that's really streamlined, then just make the site really long so that you don't have to put a lot of content in each block, and then drop some of your text into drop boxes, which are just fine for SEO, for search engine ranking. You can hide some of your content, but let your site be 25 tiles long. People on a mobile phone will just keep scrolling through it, and it actually helps conversion. It doesn't hurt it, but again, hide some of that text if you can. The third piece you want is contextual outlinks. So number 1, video. Make sure you get a video on your website. In the state of Florida, you actually have to have employees of the firm in the video. You can't just use spokesmodels. I do have my own spokesmodels, and in your state, it might be possible that I could just shoot a video for you. and you don't have to have your attorneys show up for a videographer. But in Florida, you do have to do that. Content 1,000 words. The third thing, outlinks. There's a lot of talk in our industry about backlinking. How many sites on the web link to your website? Well, unless somebody's faking some backlinks, the number for most attorneys is zero. Nobody's going to link to your website. Backlinks are important if you want your site to rank for a national search term like, um, I don't know, auto engineering, or best colleges under $20,000, some kind of topical search that's not regionally specific, some kind of search where, and I use the example Catholicism or puberty or COVID. The results aren't going to depend on where you're located. When you put the word attorney into a search, it automatically uses your IP address to give you the me result, even if you haven't asked for the attorney near me. And when you do local searches, backlinks don't mean anything because no attorney is going to have backlinks. Anyone who has backlinks in their local attorney has just hired someone to create them. They're fake. The reason that backlinks are important for topical searches is, put yourself in the shoes of Google. What happens if you typed in COVID and the results that showed up were absurd? Google didn't want to have showing. Well, they want to make sure that the results on the first page for topical searches are authoritative, respected on the web. And how do they measure that? By backlinking. How often does someone link to that website? And so backlinks are important for topical searches. It doesn't mean anything for an attorney. So don't let anybody sell you backlinks. What does matter is outlinks. Google does not like a cul-de-sac on the web. They don't want your site to have no links to go to other places. Now, the links on this site, I don't honestly know where they're at because I don't underline my links. They're kind of hidden in here, but you can crawl over them and usually find a arrow that will tell you that there is an outlink. And what we're looking for is to link out to at least 5 sites that end with .edu, .gov, uh, something that's authoritative, .org. Those are called TLDs, top level domains. And we're looking for a site that's related to our keyword, but that has a lot of authority. And what it looks to Google's crawlers like is that we're trying to be useful to the site visitor. We're trying to say, hey, if you haven't found the information you want here, here's some other places to try to find some information. Of course, we don't really want them to go anywhere, so it's hard to detect them on the site. But you need 5 outlinks. Popular people have popular friends. If you want your site to rank well, you need to link out to other sites that rank well for the same search term. So, video, content, outlinks, and here's where it gets technical. You need to make sure that your site is tagged correctly. If you check out a book out of the library, on the binder, there's going to be a number, right? The Dewey Decimal Number. And the book could be a fantastic read. It could be so well written, but if it's stuck in the wrong place because the number was on there wrong, no one's ever going to find it. No one's going to ever check that book out. And what we need to do is make sure that the Dewey Decimal Number, so to speak, on the site is clear to Google. And what is that? Well, those are called meta tags. Meta means beyond. It's the hidden information on a site that a site visitor doesn't see, but that Google is looking at to figure out what is this site about? What should it be ranking for? And the most important one is actually kind of hidden in plain sight. It's up here. This one is called Car Accident Attorney Florida, in case someone searches for Florida. And then it says Estero-FL. And there's dashes in there so that the Estero doesn't run in with FL, and maybe Google doesn't know what esteroful means, right? So I put a dash in there so they can clearly see that's a place. And there's dashes between the words so they can clearly see that my target keyword is car accident attorney. And in each case, if I go back through these sites that rank on the first page for these keywords, you're going to see that the slug, which is what this is, the official term is pathway, but slug is what we usually call them. Uh, these slugs are always going to agree exactly with the city that I got them to rank for. What does that mean? It means they're organized in the right spot. I put the right Dewey Decimal Number on them, so to speak. Well, there's more than one of these on a site. In fact, there's lots and lots of them, but there's 3 meta tags that matter a great deal. The first one is the slug. The second one, you have to look at the HTML to find. So if you right click on your website and hit inspect, and then you hit Control F and you do a left bracket and then the word title, it'll take you right to the title tag. Now, the title tag is going to actually show up in the Google search results. This line ends up becoming this line right here. Car accident attorney is actually the largest writing on the Google search engine results page. So it's really important what this says, and it should always be in a format that Google gave us, which is your keyword first, the context second, that's the city that you want to target, and then the third part really doesn't matter, but you're going to see that you're going to get better conversion if the third section includes a local phone number. Just because people say, oh, 239, that's Estero, it's outside of Naples, so 239 is the area code. And so you'll see in some of these other ones, you can see Bartow is an 863 area code, so we changed the slug with the 863 number. That number actually doesn't make any difference for search ranking because Google, I think, stops looking after the second score there. And so you want to make sure that let me go back to it, your title tag has that exact format. The keyword, car accident attorney, the city, and then whatever you want next, ideally, again, the phone number. The third title tag that matters, so it's the slug, it's the title tag, and then the H1 tag. Now, every should first of all have only one H1 tag. And H means header, and every part of the visible content of a website, all the writing, all the paragraphs, it's either going to have a P tag for paragraph or it's going to have a H tag for header. So all the titles have H tags. Then the H tags are broken down from H1, H2, H3, all the way down. And the most important one is the H1. Every site should have a single H1 tag. It should have only one, and it should be an exact match for the target keyword. In this case, you can see car accident attorney. And it doesn't say, we would like to be your car accident attorney or best car accident attorney in Florida. Those would make fantastic H2 tags, but they make lousy H1s because the H1 tag needs to be a perfect exact match for the keyword that we're targeting in the title tag, and it should be clearly discernible in the slug. So as long as those match, do you know you can outrank almost any site? I mean, there are some terms. We were looking for a particular type of attorney in Miami today, and all the top results, none of them even have videos. So it's actually a pretty easy target. Depending on your specialty, it's a pretty easy market to target. But what they did have was perfect tagging. All the stuff on the first page had perfect tagging, which means the H1 tag matched the title tag, matched the slug. Now, in a competitive place like a major city where there's presumably a bunch of designers who know what they're doing, you can get some extra help by tagging all of your images correctly as well. So name the video after your keyword and location. Name all the images. If you have icons that you use, name the icons after your keyword and location, because all of those are confirmation for Google that this site is about what? Car accident attorney in Estero, Florida. So it's just confirming again and again why this should be the first result on Google. Google wants the results to be relevant. And if all your tags are confused, if your images are named IMG98781, something random, if your title tag, most common title tag, do you know what it is? Homepage. That's the most common title tag. In fact, the most common slug is HOME, saying this is the home page. Well, that's ridiculous. If Google can't tell what the site is about, don't be surprised that it'll never rank. Now, last thing, most important thing you got to do. Well, most important thing I said was video, so I'll go with that. If you want to rank in a large area, what you're going to need to do is look at the area and grab all the major towns. So you can use ChatGPT for this, or just Google 20 largest cities in Oklahoma, 20 largest cities in Washington State, whatever area you want to rank in. Target your cities like target your mid-sized cities. You're looking for cities of 10 to 50,000 population. And why? Well, this is a relatively new website. It does not rank first for car accident attorney in Miami. Miami's millions of people. It doesn't rank first in Orlando, millions of people. But it does rank in 40,000 person cities like Estero, 25,000 person cities like Venice, 10,000 person cities like Celebration, and it ranks in 100 of them. So in aggregate, it covers more area than any of these others. And truly, I'll just give you an example. Miami. You know, if you run into somebody and you say, "Oh, where are you from?" and they say they're from Miami, if you say to them, "What part of Miami?" Do you know what they'll tell you? Almost every time. Look how small Miami is. They'll say, "Oh, I'm in Hialeah," or "I'm in Kendall," or "I'm in uh, Pembroke Pines," or Fort Lauderdale. They'll tell you they're in Miami, but they're really not. They're in one of these many, many towns of 10 to 20 or 30,000 people, like Miami Gardens. And what you want to do is make sure that someone who is searching in Miami Gardens and they search for car accident attorney or whatever kind of attorney you are, near me, that you show up in that town. You don't have to open a UPS box there to do this. You don't have to do anything. You just have to make sure that for each city that you want to show up in, you've created a dedicated landing page. And some people, I've heard people say, oh, Google doesn't want you to have too many websites. That's ridiculous. McDonald's has 11,000. So there's no penalty for having too many. Google has a lot of websites. So it's silly to think that you can have too many landing pages. When you create these landing pages, largely they're replicates of each other. So if you go down to the bottom here, you can see that I've created lots and lots of landing pages all around Florida for this attorney. So largely they're duplicated, but you need to make sure that the content is unique and different on each page. You can't just have the same content, or Google is definitely not going to rank your site. So it takes a little bit of work, or you can use some AI on that, which I can do for you. Now, let me show you one last thing, which I don't usually put in my other videos, but this is really important. An attorney lead is worth hundreds of dollars if you have to buy one. If you pay a lead gen source for an attorney lead, it's going to cost you hundreds of dollars. And so you don't want to have to pay for leads, but you also don't want to waste any site traffic because these leads are so valuable to us. So what you need to make sure you have on your website is a smart form. Now, nobody likes a pop-up, okay? Nobody likes it when something pops up on their screen, but you're going to need to do that. Normally, a website is going to get about one visitor in 100 to reach out and contact you. And attorney websites tend to be rather wordy. So they actually are probably on the low end of that range, not the high end. So they're going to, in other words, they don't convert very well because there's so much to read. People get lost in them. So what you want to have is a smart form that pops up a few seconds after the site launches. If somebody tells you, if you have a web designer that says, oh, Google doesn't like pop-ups, that's true. But that 5-second delay is enough to where Google really doesn't even know there is a pop-up on this site. What you want to do with a smart form is be asking questions sort of like you would ask the customer if they were to call you on the phone to say, hey, what's going on with you right now? And the way these smart forms are designed is to be sort of a choose your own adventure. Depending on the way they answer the first question, a different second question will pop up. And after 3 questions, what we have found is people are ready to give us their contact information. If, on the other hand, you give somebody a big form that says name, phone number, email, date of accident, what's your injury, no one's going to fill that form out. And proof in the pudding is that we end up getting a submission from about one site visitor in 12, 8 times better than a standard 1 in 100 conversion rate on a website. So make sure if you do get a site to rank on Google on the first page, which means you're going to get a lot of traffic, make sure that we're not wasting that traffic because we don't have a smart form on the website. I do have a video I'm creating to talk more about smart forms and how they work and the way to design the questions. So please like this video, subscribe to this video. If you know an attorney who needs to uh, get their name out there, please recommend this video to them, send a link to this video to them. I'd love to help you as well. If you have a law firm or any other business, I'd love to help just build a website for you to get you ranked first on Google, which again, I've done hundreds of times. I wish you the best of luck. Please send me a message at bob@simple.biz if I can answer any questions for you, or if I can maybe take a suggestion from you about what other videos I ought to be creating. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.